Hello, everybody. In this presentation, I'll speak about the importance of BIM in contracts and the need of having information requirements defined properly in contracts. I'm Mostafa Elashmawy. I'm the head of BIM and GIS at WSP Middle East. I am certified from several organizations like BRE, Autodesk, RICS, and also I have a master's in global BIM management. I'm the leader of digital community group. Please feel free to join us on LinkedIn. Before I start, I wanted to highlight that in this presentation, I'll mention many important publications in the BIM industry, and I wanted to highlight that I didn't contribute into any of these documents, and the presentation is a reflection to my own understanding based on the knowledge and expertise that I acquired through the years. However, I highly recommend reading the cited references for your information. Due to the rapid growth of BIM across the globe, BIM became an essential deliverable in most construction projects. However, every stakeholder inside the project sees BIM from a different perspective. And sometimes when two people talk about a BIM deliverable, everyone is thinking in a different world. So I recall lots and lots of conversations when I was speaking to a project manager or a construction manager, and when I tell them that the contractor didn't submit their BIM deliverables, I was talking about a 4D sequencing requested from them, but the construction director told me, but they have already submitted the BIM models. So every one of us was talking about different thing, and both of us was just calling it a BIM. When we request our supply chain to deliver BIM models, we need to firstly align the expectations. So when a client requests a BIM model, he need to know what exactly the purpose of delivering this BIM model. Will they require a steel design fabrication and erection model, for example, like this model, or do they require the BIM for coordination and clash detection? Do they require BIM to facilitate construction and replace printed documents? So they want to use the models directly using tablets on sites. Do they want to implement virtual reality for design review, for example? Are they requesting 4D planning and progress simulations? All of these are BIM uses, but some projects would require these and some not. So before asking your supply chain to deliver BIM models, you need to define your goals. Sometimes you need to BIM models to manage the project after a handover using digital twins, for example. To achieve what you need as a client, there are samples of BIM clauses that you don't want to use in your request for proposals. So when you are approaching a contractor to deliver BIM deliverables, don't just say in your contract, the contractor is to submit BIM models of LOD 300. Firstly, the concept of LOD 300 somehow is superseded by the concept of level of information need. And also the statement LOD 300 without additional reference to mention the reference for LOD 300 will not be practical. So everybody has an understanding for LOD 300, and unless you define the reference, like for example BIM forum, as a reference for the LOD definition, then you will not receive what you expect. And also there are some elements like infrastructure elements that don't have a universal definition for LOD 300. So try to avoid such a statement and instead provide a catalog for definition of your expectations for the elements of your models through the project stages and through the various deliverables. Another statement you want you will try to avoid in your contract: the client requires BIM level 2. This is outdated statement. There is no such a thing at the moment. BIM currently, we say currently deliver BIM as per ISO 19650. BIM level 2 was an old statement used in previous BIM standards, but now when ISO 19650 was released, we should be targeting to use BIM as per ISO 19650. Another statement would be consultant to provide BIM as per BIM best practice. Best practices is the best, but it's not one single definition. So when I say BIM best practice, for me, it's the best practice that I understand, but another consultant or contractor might have another best practices. So instead of just mentioning this, define what are these best practices, and try to add as much details as you want in your requirements. And if not, if you can't provide all the details, if your project is huge and have variety of deliverables, so the answer here is to request, using your information requirements, request from the consultant or the contractor to deliver a BIM execution plan that will detail the methods, procedures that they will follow, and this is how you will document these best practices that will be followed through the project. Another statement like bidder to provide the BIM execution plan as per ISO 19650. You never add this statement unless you have proper information requirements in your contract. So while ISO 19650 requests every consultant and contractor to provide BIM execution plan, it also asks the employers to provide exchange information requirements, asset information requirements, and all their BIM protocols, standards, methods, procedures to be followed in the project, and the BIM execution plan should respond to these requirements. Examples for when the procurement failed to deliver what's actually required because of unclear contract statements related to BIM. So in this example, the client requested a 4D deliverable without defining any further details. And all the bidders in this project provided one-time 4D simulation for the project. However, what the client actually wanted is a 4D dashboard where they can track the progress on weekly basis, and this dashboard to be linked with the BIM model and the timeline. So this is why the contract should have much more details, and this can be as an exchange information requirements or level of information need document or master information delivery plan document. So there are list of documents that should be attached to your contract, and then a list of documents that should be requested from the bidders and then from the future contractor and consultants to ensure that what you require is what's delivered. Another example is reinforcement modeling. I know lots and lots of contractors who try to not to model reinforcements, but I know much more clients that actually request reinforcement while they will never use it. From my point of view, reinforcement should be up to the contractor, because if they will use it for fabrication of the reinforcements and installations, they would need to model it. But if they don't, if they have a subcontractor, for example, that's delivering the reinforcement, so if the model will not be used, so no need to model it. So we need to be practical in this case and avoid requesting something that we don't need. If you require the reinforcement for future, for recording the internal reinforcement inside your models to be used in the future in case you want to understand the reinforcement in a wall or in a column, so that's fine. In that case, you need the reinforcement, but I'm sure that as of today, no contractor will deliver accurate reinforcement similar to what's exactly built, because there are always differences in millimeters when placing the reinforcements, and sometimes in centimeters. So it would be more practical to request the reinforcement as parameters, for example, or if you request modeling the reinforcement, so you need to be requesting it because you need it, not because it's just something that everybody requests. In this slide, I wanted to give a brief about ISO 19650. International standards ISO 19650 currently have 5 parts, and the 5 parts have different purposes. Each part complement each other. One is for the concepts, and one is for the construction part. One is for operation and management, and then one for security, and one for the information management and exchange. One more important resource that would help in defining your information requirements and can support all your contracts is the UK BIM framework. It have lots of details on how to implement ISO 19650. It have many guidance on either when you are at the client side or if you are at the supply chain and you want to deliver, UK BIM framework is always a good addition and something that will help you to deliver better. ISO 19650 defines some activities and stages where some decisions and actions need to be taken by the various stakeholders of the project. So there are activities that's done per project and activities that's done per appointment. So this larger box is the project, and this smaller box is the appointment, and then there are smaller stages like the procurement stage, and then the planning stage, and then the delivery stage. So at the assessment and need stage, the client need to define their requirements properly. And then at procurement stage, there are additional requirements that need to be provided by the client. Um, when you are the client and you want to define your requirements, you want to understand the various stakeholders in the project. So as a client here in the middle, you have interactions with several entities, and any entity that you have a contract with shall be considered as a lead appointed party. And as per the ISO 19650, then the lead appointed party is responsible for its appointed parties. So to make it simple for client, you can consider any contract with any stakeholder is where you should provide requirements, and any entity that have direct contract with the client shall be considered as a lead appointed party. So there are some exclusions for this, and you need to be flexible. So for example, if you are hiring a party that will define the requirements, so maybe this will be acting on behalf of the client, will be the client representative rather than being a lead appointed party. So what should we expect from clients at the assessment and need stage, which is the very early stage of the project? The appointing party should establish below resources for the project. So the client should provide information requirements, information standard, and information protocol. They need also to provide production methods and procedures to be followed in the project, templates that will be used in the project, common data environment, and the delivery milestones. And also, in addition to this, at the invitation to tender stage, so client has provided previous documents per the whole project, but then when they approach some bidders for a specific appointment or a specific contract, then they need to add further requirements like the exchange information requirements, level of information need for each deliverable, deliverables acceptance criteria, how the client will accept the deliverables, and then deliverable dates when the deliverables are required, templates and shared resources, and tender evaluation criteria. From a level of information need perspective, the client need to define for each deliverable why they are requiring this deliverable, when it's required, and who will be delivering it, and what object will be delivered. And for each object, the how should define the geometrical information to be modeled, and the alphanumerical information to be included, and any additional documentation. So this need to happen for each deliverable. So if you need a deliverable for visualization, you need to define this, and for sure it will be different from a deliverable that you will use for 4D planning, and for sure it will be different from a deliverable that you will use for shop drawings, for example. From the other side, from the stakeholders, BIM execution plan is expected at the bidding stage and also after appointment. So in the BIM execution plan, there are certain topics that need to be covered. So what is the delivery strategy? What is the federation strategy of the models? Detailed responsibility metrics, and additions or amendments to the requirements. So if you as a contractor can't deliver or won't deliver a specific part, or will deliver it in a different way, you need to mention this in the BIM execution plan. The hardware, software, and IT infrastructure that will be used in the project, and the individuals that will be delivering the projects. And that's it for the presentation, and looking forward to listen to your questions and if any. Thank you.